Every dynasty in Game of Thrones collapses. Not one survives. That pattern wasn't invented, it was taken from a real war that destroyed an entire royal family. George R.R. Martin confirmed it. Game of Thrones draws closest to the Wars of the Roses, England's real 15th century civil war between two branches of the same royal family. York became Stark, Lancaster became Lannister. The wall is Hadrian's Wall. The dragons are borrowed from Welsh heraldry. That's not what's interesting. What he actually took from history was the mechanism, not who fought, why fighting was inevitable. It starts with Edward III, King of England in the 1300s. 5 surviving adult sons, each one powerful, each one with a legitimate royal bloodline, each one with a court of his own. No problem while Edward was alive. The moment he died, he left 5 men, and their children, and their children's children, all with a defensible claim to the same throne. That's the War of the 5 Kings. Not metaphorically, structurally. The show didn't invent that setup, it inherited it. In Game of Thrones, the war breaks out because Robert Baratheon dies without a clear, undisputed heir. 5 men decide they have a claim. None of them are wrong. In England, the real version broke out because Richard II died without children. Multiple branches of Edward III's bloodline decided they had a claim. None of them were wrong either. Same problem. Different continent. Hereditary power has a structural flaw baked in from the beginning. The rules for gaining power and the rules for transferring power are incompatible. To build a dynasty, you need military strength, loyal nobles, and a bloodline worth following. The stronger you build it, the more valuable the prize becomes. The more valuable the prize, the more people with royal blood start doing the math. The stronger the ruler, the worse the succession problem they leave behind. Every major civilization hit this wall. They all had to find a solution. They all found the same 4 options. Kill the rivals, blind them, cage them, or let them fight. Westeros cycles through all 4. So did history. Just pick a clear heir. Eldest son inherits. No ambiguity, no competing claims. Every dynasty in history tried this. The Plantagenets had primogeniture. A clear rule, written down, enforced. Eldest son gets the throne. Everyone else falls in line. It didn't stop the Wars of the Roses. Primogeniture doesn't eliminate the other sons. It just tells them what their future looks like. Second place. Every younger son with ambition, every lord who'd backed the wrong claimant, every rival with a genealogist and an army, they all just needed one of those other sons to exist. The heir was only safe once every alternative was gone. Westeros never solved this. Neither did England. Neither did the most powerful empire on earth. In the show, the logic is always the same. Consolidate power by eliminating alternatives. Cersei does it. Daenerys does it. Every ruler who survives to the end of a season does it. The show frames this as a character flaw. History frames it as a policy decision. Mehmed II conquered Constantinople in 1453, one of the most admired rulers of his century, patron of the arts, spoke 6 languages, rebuilt the city he'd just defeated. He also passed a law formalizing exactly what Cersei was always trying to do, his exact words. Of any of my sons that ascends the throne, it is acceptable for him to kill his brothers for the common benefit of the people. Not cruelty, policy. His grandfather had spent 8 years fighting his own brothers after their father died. That civil war, the Ottoman interregnum, nearly ended the empire before it reached its peak. Mehmed was writing the rule that would prevent it from happening again. The law worked. The Ottoman Empire lasted 600 years. No comparable hereditary dynasty came close. The largest single use of the law came in 1595. Mehmed III took the throne and had 19 brothers executed in a single night, buried alongside their father. Historians called it a stabilizing act, think of the Red Wedding, but as state policy, not a betrayal, an administrative decision. But the Ottomans hit the same wall everyone else did. By 1603, public pressure forced a change. The new Sultan, Mehmed III, 13 years old when he took the throne, refused to kill his brother. He invented a replacement instead. The cafes, a gilded palace prison. Rival princes were locked inside, kept alive, kept comfortable, completely cut off from governance and the outside world. No armies, no courts, no experience of anything beyond the palace walls. Think of Bran before he became the three-eyed raven, alive, safe, completely removed from power. The humane solution created a worse problem. Sultans raised in the cafes, no governing experience, no contact with the real world, became progressively unfit to rule. Historians cite it as one of the structural causes of Ottoman decline. The cage outlasted the sword. The Byzantines found a third answer. You can't be emperor if you're blind, so rivals were blinded rather than killed, neutralized without being eliminated. Of roughly 90 Byzantine emperors between 330 and 1453 AD, more than 30 faced large-scale revolts. 20 started their reigns as usurpers, not as legitimate heirs, but as the last man standing after a coup. Blinding bought time. It never solved the problem. Kill them, blind them, cage them, let them fight. 4 civilizations, 4 solutions, same result every time. The prize kept existing. The math kept working. Cersei kills. The Ottomans formalized it. The Byzantines blinded. Westeros's endless civil wars, the War of the Five Kings, the Dance of the Dragons, are the let them fight option played out across generations. None of it works. Not permanently. Not structurally. Because none of it changes the rules of the game. At the end of Game of Thrones, they don't find a better king. They abolish the system entirely. No more hereditary rule. Bran is chosen by a council. The throne, literally, is destroyed. Most viewers found the ending unsatisfying. 8 seasons building toward a throne, and then it was just gone. Constitutional monarchy, elected parliaments, republics. None of these emerged because philosophers convinced kings to be reasonable. They emerged because hereditary power kept producing the same catastrophe, and enough people eventually decided the catastrophe was worth stopping. Not through idealism, through exhaustion. Martin gave Westeros the historically accurate ending. The Iron Throne had to go, not because it was a satisfying narrative payoff, because 600 years of evidence showed it was the only exit from the cycle. Every dynasty that concentrated power eventually cycled through the same 4 options. Kill them, blind them, cage them, let them fight. The ones that lasted longest eventually found a 5th. Stop making the throne worth killing for. But no ruler in the middle of the game could ever see that. Not the Plantagenets, not the Ottomans, not the Byzantines, not Cersei. From inside the system, the only rational move was to win, and that's exactly why the system kept producing the same result: war, betrayal, red weddings for 6 centuries. Which leaves the question Martin never directly answered. Not who deserved the Iron Throne, but why every real dynasty in history produced exactly the kind of ruler who'd do anything to keep it.